Hello there everyone, Ashnflash here, and welcome on into a prediction video for Marvel in 2022. And I guess the first thing that I want to talk about here at the top is that if you didn't know, it's actually the 10-year anniversary for LEGO Marvel Superheroes next year. It is going to be 10 years since the theme first started with the original Avengers wave with that one X-Men set, as well as technically it will be 20 years since the first LEGO Spider-Man sets came out as well with the Raimi film. So it is a very big anniversary next year for Marvel and specifically Spider-Man. So I would be really surprised if we didn't get some form of anniversary treatment like themes have been getting recently over the past few years that Star Wars got and Ninjago and Harry Potter this year as well. And I think that the golden figures honestly would be really great to get. And I'm biased. I know that there's a ton of hatred towards the golden figures outside of Ninjago, specifically with the Harry Potter ones, but I really love the look of them, and I would love to get some golden figures of the Avengers and other Marvel characters. And what I think could happen here specifically is that you would get the core 6 Avengers spread out across a couple of different sets. If they are maybe anniversary remakes from like the past 10 years, remaking some of the sets and branding them under the Infinity Saga, or just new sets in general from the Infinity Saga that would then have the characters. So there would be, of course, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and the Hulk. And I know that some of you are probably saying, well, they would never do the Hulk, they'd never make him gold. I wouldn't put it past them at all, because a lot of people said the same thing about Hagrid, that they would never recolor those parts in gold, and they did. So Hulk would be really cool to get in a big figure, maybe put him in the D2C or something like that next year. I think would be really great to get. In terms of anniversary sets, I think it would be interesting if they did remake some of the classic ones, like Loki's like Arrival, but like change it up, don't have it be the truck, maybe have it be like the portal or whatever, and include something for him to escape. Or even thinking like next year, it is 10 years, I'd be shocked if there's not some form of a Quinjet. LEGO loves to make these Quinjets, and the last one we got from Endgame was really great, but it has been a bit of time since we've since gotten that, so I think it would be really cool to get some Infinity Saga one, set it from maybe Age of Ultron or something like that would be really cool. And I'm just trying to think of like what other anniversary sets they could do. Again, just it is the 10-year anniversary for the first Avengers movie, which was the biggest movie at the time. So I think that it would be really great if they did a few, if not a lot of sets actually based off of that movie. I think would be really great, because getting those suits updated as well in the sets would be really awesome. Which I think I want to talk about the D2Cs right now. Now, we do have a separate video actually talking about Infinity Saga sets that I'd like to get. I will link them at the end. But specifically when it comes to the D2C, I really think that the best thing to do next year is Stark Tower and have it be based off of the Avengers first movie. I think that'd be really cool to get Stark Tower. Maybe there's a way to transform it into Avengers Tower. That might be a lot of work, but I just think that it's definitely the best thing to do, and it would be a nice like way to pay tribute to the movie that really started the theme here with that movie. I think that'd be really fun. And again, you could throw in Hulk in there, and for golden figures, even like Loki, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a golden Loki. But for sure as well, going back to the figures, a Spider-Man has to happen because of what I said about the Raimi movies, as well as just the fact that it's Spider-Man. Like, how could you not give Spider-Man a golden figure? It would be interesting if we got a golden Deadpool or Wolverine, because they did do the original X-Men set, and he is actually now back on the boxes. And I did a video talking about this, but I do wonder if we'll get like minimum one X-Men set where they'll just try to bring it back. And I wouldn't expect something huge like an X-Mansion, because they are a little iffy about this. I think that maybe you could get a Sentinel in the same style as the Eternals big build, so I think that would be really interesting. But I do want to move on though and just quickly talk about the movies that are coming out next year, just to tell you what I would think is going to happen. Honestly, looking at Shang-Chi, this unknown thing, it got 2 sets. I think minimum now, with the place that Marvel's at, with how big some of these movies are going to be, I would say that each of these movies will get minimum 2 sets. I wouldn't even say 1. I would be shocked if they only got 1. I think they really all deserve 2, especially because they all are sequels. Like, all of these are well-known, established, fan-favorite characters, so they definitely deserve more than 2 sets minimum. So, the first one that we are going to be seeing is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, I would love to get some sort of Sanctum build, and of course wherever else that's set. I'm not going to really speculate on what these sets could be, just list the movies, but for that, at least, that's something really important to me that I'd love to get. As well as for Black Panther, some sort of playset from Wakanda would be great, but that is going to be such a huge movie. They really need to do a lot for that, I'd say. And same with the Marvels. We really need to be getting, of course, in those sets, I would be shocked if this doesn't already happen, but getting Monica Rambeau and, of course, Captain Marvel's new outfit, and even probably Miss Marvel, because she is in the logo. I would be shocked if we don't get her in there. And then for Thor 4, I would probably just assume that, you know, you'd get Jane in some set. That'd be the best thing to get. But in terms of plot and stuff, we don't really know. But at least for those, I'd say 2 sets. And the other one that is coming out next year, which I'm not sure, because we have seen a little bit of stuff coming more and more from this, but Spider-Verse 2 is coming out, and I think that they really missed out on the first movie not having sets off of that. I think they would have sold phenomenally well, like insanely well, and I know that we did get like the indirect sets, I would say, you know, with Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, and then even with Miles and stuff like that the following year, but I would say specifically with that movie, I would be shocked if we didn't get something, because Sony and Lego's relationship has kind of been growing recently when it comes to doing the SDCC figures. Like, that is something that they would have had directly to go to Sony to talk about with the Miles Morales figure, as well as the PS4 one from the year before, and it just shows that they are in some form of communication and that they did approve it. And as well as just the fact that a PlayStation was referenced in the Spider layer this last year, I think that that is a great sign for potentially getting sets later on in the year for that. And speaking of later on in the year, just to throw it out there, the Advent calendar, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Christmas special, I really think they could just set the whole thing around that. There's a lot there probably, and getting some of the characters and the builds from that, I think it would just be perfect. Don't do a set for the Christmas special. I'd much rather prefer the Advent calendar be based in that, so they could be connected a lot more. And specifically, the last thing that I want to talk about is, maybe you don't have an interest in this, but I personally really love them, is the helmets. I think that getting more helmets next year would be great. I think that some of the movies here really set up a lot of fun stuff. Specifically, like Black Panther, would be shocked if we don't get one in the near future, as well as Captain Marvel, I think would work really well. The one that I want the most, though, and I don't know really how they would go about doing it, is a Star-Lord one. I'm not sure if he would have the hair or if it would just be like a mannequin top of the head or whatever, but I really think that just Star-Lord's helmet would be fantastic. And specifically with the game coming out, I could see it coming out pretty soon, honestly. I think Star-Lord's is probably the one that I want the most, and an Ant-Man one as well, but I would be surprised if they did it this year, maybe saving it for when that movie comes out. But yeah, that's just kind of my ideas there for that. Maybe Thor as well, you could do his helmet, but we'll have to wait and see. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you have any predictions for 2022? I know that this is just kind of like, some of this is obvious, but other things, I just want to talk about the potential of the anniversary. So I'm really excited. I think next year could be a huge year for Lego in general, but specifically when it comes to superheroes. So we'll do a separate video talking about DC. Be sure to subscribe, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out on the follow-up video for this with DC, as well as just any news and reviews for when these sets actually do start to trickle out with news and when the sets do show up. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope you all have a great day. I will see you all in the next one.